Alright. Welcome to another haul video. This is from the Sugoi Expo. Yes, this is the first ever one put on by Nerd Street. Nerd Street is the company that also put on the Central for Comic Con, which I actually like this year is a lot better than the previous couple I've been to. Now, okay, one thing I'm going to do before I talk about what I got at this particular con is discuss some weird things that happened prior to getting there. First of which, I got there like 11 or 1 o'clock. Now, here's the thing. The exhibition itself didn't start until 2 o'clock. And for some strange reason, this was really, really weird. When I got there were barely any people there. Like, I got in there and I walked into the very room where they have, like, the celebrity voice actors. The voice actors. And I'm like, wait, why is this door open for? This was weird. And like maybe like a couple people were in there. I'm like, what the heck is this? This is weird. And then I walk and had the exhibition hall right next door, and stuff was opening set up. And I'm thinking, okay, this is just weird. I've never come across this before. For the first time they've had something like this is odd to say the least. For one thing, I'm surprised no one stopped me from going in. Yeah, it's like the staff whose volunteers worked this thing, apparently weren't doing their jobs properly, because I would have thought they would stop me from going in there because stuff wasn't open yet. But no, they allowed me to go in there, walk around, I walked there, I was maybe like a minute, walked out. I'm like, yeah, this was weird. And eventually, when it hit 2 o'clock, it took a bit of a while to chat with some people about Attack on Titan. By the way, I got plenty of compliments on this shirt. This Jojo David shirt. And then they said it finally opened at 2 o'clock, which seems a bit late for an exhibition hall to open. Yeah. Anybody would probably be questioning, why the heck would an event like this have their exhibition stuff open at 2 o'clock in the afternoon? Yeah, I thought this is kind of weird. And I go in there, and they're just setting up. I'm like, it's 2 o'clock. Why the heck are you setting up now for? Yeah, now, I'm sure that if I can tell the exhibition that was fully set up, no problem. But it was the voice actor side. Apparently, some of them not gotten there yet. And they were just setting up at 2 o'clock, which this, I think, was really bad on the part of Nerdtree to do. They had the voice actor set up on 2 o'clock on the dot. At that point, that's when they started setting up their stuff. I mean, it was nice. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I sat in front of Sarah Wintner's table. She's one of the voice actors I met there. I sat in front of a table what seems like about 10 minutes, watching us up everything, and I didn't disturb her or anything. I didn't mention about the Suga plushie, but I didn't touch her. I didn't much. I was the only thing I said. I just stood there, being very patient with her, watched everything up, and then, of course, basically, she wasn't ready yet. And then I saw Kara Ibley was ready to go. Yes, Kara Ibley. I'm like, that's kind of weird. She's the first one ready? Yeah, I thought this was kind of weird. Like, she was ready. Chris Jordan was ready to go. Sarah was still setting up. And Kyle and Austin were just set up right at that moment. Now, I hope when I go back to this thing next time that they won't do this again. So, to start off with here, I got this song by Kara Ibley. And if you're curious, what character does she voice? The character who she signed. And yes, she wrote my name on there. Absolutely great to see her again. I wish I had pictures of later, but I took. Now, here's the thing. The combos, here's the thing. None of them were $60. None of them, which I thought that was kind of surprising. Kara's was like $40 for like the combo and the picture. That's interesting. I think the only one I paid $50 for. I think Sarah's was $50, and I think Kyle's was $52. I think Austin and Chris George, who was there too, I think those two were about $40 a piece. I'm like, wow, damn. And the last con I went to, basically a couple I paid 60 freaking bucks for the combos. Basically, combo is simply the autograph of the first item and a selfie. And went back over to Sarah's table. Still wasn't finished setting up. So I saw, Chris George is ready to go. So I walked to his table, and I had him sign. He is right on top of Bakudo. Yeah, I figure though he's in My Hero Academia. I was kind of thinking, man, I forgot to bring his for him to sign. And I realized I look up like, what's something? Do I have something I have in my bag here? Like, okay, okay, Mr. Crystal Heroes. Oh wait, he's in My Hero Academia. Perfect, and he's in this. He's in this first half of the show. Awesome. I got to sign it. I got to chat with her a bit. Kara actually surprised to remember me. Yeah, one of 3 repeaters basically who kind of do remember me. I even show up the picture that we took. Not this past year, it was last year, since for Comic Con, and she was kind of surprised to see me. Yep, and then we chatted for a bit. I did tell her I'm gonna basically, yes, I'm gonna get back into watching Ruby soon. Yeah, this is actually the first I got with it, and I figured this would be perfect for this time because I even told her I still have not met the other 2 voice actors yet. And I did bring up to her that Anime News did meet her and the rest of her cast, the main voice cast at a con in Canada. I mentioned Anime News. He mentioned he's met them. And she actually does kind of know who Anime News is. I've never seen what he looks like in person. So then I went back to Sarah and finally I was able to actually get an autograph. Yes, I paid it and I chatted with her a bit, talk about Psycho, I talk about Sakura. Oh, by the way, I brought this for her to sign. Yes, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. And I even saw a sketch she had on a table that I saw her draw on frickin' Twitch. Yes, seriously. One thing that Sarah does when she's on Twitch, she either does a couple things. Either she does artwork, or she does like some gaming, some not that big game, but just maybe some online game. But yeah, I did point out to her that I did see that. We talked a little bit about Charmy and the fact that she is looking forward to Dr. Stone Season 3. She does agree with the opinion that Ree was rushed. She definitely was. We didn't talk about Toru very much. She just mentioned Shira's wonderful. We did bring up the fact about the boob joke. The fact the show has that Leah Clark constantly on a lot of shows with her in it. Chris George, what I talked about with him. I'm also talking a little about Beppo, how awesome a character he is. The bear he voiced from Universe 7, which is so awesome. And he was very happy to actually get this thing to sign here. And but in the case of who I got met next was Cobb Phillip. Yep, I got a chance to meet him. He was somebody. Oh, I did mention to Sarah. I did mention to her that I do follow her. I've chatted with her on Twitch. And I did mention my Twitch. I'm like, oh, so yeah, this is actually, believe it or not, at this big con, 3 people at this con I've actually spoke to on Twitch. Sarah, Chris, and Kyle. I've always spoken to these people on Twitch in their chat rooms. Yes, I am not kidding about that. That's 100% complete true. Yep. One thing I did note though about Sarah, like, wow, I'm like when I took a picture, like, wow, this woman is pretty thin. Yes, Sarah Weinhoff is thin. Nothing against her for that at all. Yeah, she looked like, I don't know if she looked like she didn't eat very much at all. Her outfit. Well, I'll show the outfit later. It's quite interesting. And after I talked to Kyle, great. Now, Kira mentioned to me about the voice of the panel that she's gonna be on with Kyle. Kyle, basically, I mentioned, Kara told me too. And I did go to Kyle. I'll talk about that panel soon. He did mention to me about his autograph. If those wear off, he can basically re-autograph later. He was fine. And then afterwards, I met Austin, who apparently looks like he dropped a few pounds and he's no longer wearing glasses. I'm like, that's interesting. Great for Austin. And, okay, now for the pictures I took, I want to briefly show us the 4 stuff I got, which I didn't get very much there. No, there wasn't much stuff there. It was one of the things I had a problem with it. Okay, as for the pictures I took. Okay, so, excuse me, with, I got this with Kira, and she did know though this actually was kind of her idea to take pictures like this, the selfie style. And then, of course, basically, I met up with Chris George, which I had never met this guy before in person. I've seen a couple pictures of him, but yeah, this guy here on sitting next to me, that is Chris George. That's not a joke. That seriously is him. You would think, oh, looks like some random guy. No, that's Chris George. And here's Sarah. And as you can see now, you probably know this thing, Nick. Why are you wearing a mask in this picture? That was actually a Sarah's request that I put on the mask. And as you can see, she is somewhat thin. Also, I did mention to her that I am 5 years older than she is. And I did also bring it to her. I met Liz Maxwell. She's such a sweetheart. How much of a beauty she is, which that's indeed true. Liz Maxwell is a very beautiful woman. Yeah, she put her arm on my lower back. So basically, I just leaned over and, that's not a really good picture of myself blinking, but here we go. This is a much better picture. My eyes open. Yeah. By the way, first I'm putting a mask on in about 5 months, because basically the mask tape was lifted. Now I did mention to her that I am fully vaccinated, but Jesus, because she asked for it, fine, whatever. That I put the mask on, and I pointed out to her there was some yellow stuff on the back of my mask. I told her that was not vomit. That was basically pieces of Chlorotab pills that basically broke out my bag. And she didn't have an issue with it. I was trying to basically just not have her panic the fact I may have vomited on this particular thing, but that was perfectly fine. And then here's Kyle Phillips. Great to see this guy again. He wore his mask. I'm not sure. Now, he apparently did not tell me to put my mask on for a picture with him. So, yeah, I like the first picture better. Then we did this. This I thought was a lot of fun. This is basically Dinky Kaminari attacking, because last time I met with him, we did Dumb Kaminari. This is Attack Kaminari. This actually was his idea to do. And he's like, okay, you want to do also either Attack Kaminari or Dumb Kaminari. I chose Attack because I've done the one before. And here's Oz Nintendo. Yeah, where he no longer wears glasses. He looks like he shed a few pounds. Yeah, he definitely looks drastically different. I was kind of surprised the fact how different he was. He also apparently trimmed his beard in like 2 years. The thing is, I think the last time I remember seeing Austin Nintendo, let's see, it wasn't. I'm trying to think. It wasn't last year. It was actually 2 years ago. Yeah, it was actually 2 years ago. I actually met Austin Nintendo. I did mention to Sarah. I did start watching Plunderer. And she was actually very happy the fact I actually watched Plunder. I put Heen as my 4th favorite character first. And she seemed very happy with the list. I also gave her a list of my favorite characters she voiced. She's very happy to receive that. I gave her and Chris my business card. I believe I had given Kira my business card for with Kyle and Austin. I believe those two I have. So after that, I'm like, okay, I mailed the voice actors I wanted. Yeah, 5 voice actors. That's 5. Pretty reasonable prices for them. And then came the buying stuff, which, honestly, this is the one thing I was very disappointed with. Now, I was expecting, Anime Expo and one room. And I went around this room 5 or 6 times. Sometimes passed by the same table, sometimes. There was lots of prints. Lots of tables selling prints. Caboose selling t-shirts. Not very interesting for me to buy. There was a couple of people figures. I did buy a couple figures, but I will show those off. But yeah, this is one thing I was very disappointed with. Was something called anime. There was no anime DVDs, no manga volumes, no even light novels. There was nothing. These 3 stuff I was hoping that I might see here wasn't sold here at all for some strange reason. I don't know why. I thought this is kind of weird. Oh, by the way, I got this from Kyle Phillips. He gives me a follow on social media. Excuse me. I'll probably share with him on his Twitter that he has. Alright, now this, you're probably thinking, man, this is strange for me to buy. Yeah, these cost me like $5 a piece. $10 for a pair of socks. Yes, seriously. 2 pairs of socks. Now you might be asking, Nick, why did you buy 2 pairs of socks for? I never bought it before. It's actually one thing that, for me personally, I've never actually bought before for myself. I bought t-shirts myself, undergarments, obviously, shorts. I bought shoes. Socks is actually one thing I've never bought myself before. So I figured, though, why not? Oh, by the way, I got a lot of compliments on my Deku hat. Yeah, some people pictures of me show off. I wear this Deku hat I bought Hot Topic about 2 years ago, I think it was, and I got a lot of compliments on the Deku hat. I did not expect compliments on my hat. I mean, sure is one thing, but my hat, wow, I was like so surprised about that. Let's see. Yeah, I actually got. I think it was. I remember correctly. I think it was like 2 figures. The other one, I don't know where it is. I thought I had it here. Okay, this actually is one of them. Toga. Yep, I got a Toga figure. Little fun fact about the Toga figure. Apparently this actually was the only one that she had, and it was a display piece. I did not really want to buy it. I was hoping maybe one behind there, but no. This actually. By the way, I actually bought this in the same room as where the voice actors were. Yeah, that's 100% completely true. There is like a couple of things. One thing I did buy from that same room. They did sell some snacks there, but nothing really interests me at all. All right, this is quite surprising. You probably think, man, Nick, you bought this? Yes, seriously, I bought this thing. I bought myself something I never ever bought myself for. A flask. Yes, a flask. I bought it for a display piece, and plus it's an Overlord one. I think it's cost like $30 for this damn thing. Yeah, it didn't cost me very much. Not really, no. Yeah. Alright, this is basically, I got a keychain. Yes, a keychain. And this cost me $10. Yeah, seriously, $10 for this thing. And excuse me. Let me show which character I got. I did not expect to find this character. The thing is, I actually got, believe it or not, a keychain of, and this might shock you, Def the Kid from Soul Eater. You're thinking, really? Def the Kid from Soul Eater? That seems quite strange. Yes, I did. I never have seen any merchandise for Soul Eater before. Like, I've seen the manga, but merchandise? Like, keychains? Like, according to the person selling it, apparently Soul Eater has got a surge in popularity in the last couple of years. Probably because of Fire Force. Yeah, I thought this was kind of weird that that's the only keychain I bought. And I did buy some other stuff here. There's one other thing, I'm not sure what it is. This is something that I've never bought. This is another thing I've never bought before. A cup coaster. Yes. Of Ochaku. I believe this was like about $15. This thing is the only thing I bought from that booth. You're thinking, wow, you're not spending very much in these booths. Well, there wasn't a lot to spend. Like, there wasn't a lot there. That's the biggest problem with this one. Alright, let's see. I also got a print of Nezuko. Guess how much this cost? $8. Yes, this thing here. A very beautiful flower girl, Nezuko. I bought this purely because of the fact I like Demon Slayer. And this is actually fan art, believe it or not. Yes, this is a fan art of Nezuko. I have a few different series there. Next up I got is Bowie, which is the writer who I actually got this from the writer who actually wrote this. Which is Steve Horton. Yes, he was there. And he got a chance to work with Mike Aldred. This is basically a biography of the late David Bowie, who passed away a few years ago. Now, the thing is, I've never listened to his music that I can think of, and I've never seen his most famous movie, Labyrinth. Yeah. Was there anything else? There definitely was. I did get one other figure here. For some reason, no box for this one. I had to take out plastic, excuse me. If I can move this thing here. There we go. Yeah, I have to take out the plastic because this thing gave me no box. By the way, cheapest figure for this one they had here. And it's a figure of Rem in Subaru's tracksuit jacket. Cost me $35. The second most expensive thing I actually bought while I was at this con. Yeah, second most expensive thing. And yes, I came with a figure. You were thinking, why would you buy a Rem figure for? I like Rem. That's why. This is probably far the most normal thing I have of her. It's actually the third Rem figure I have. The other two are just... well, the other two are... Well, I remember... I think it's a very tiny one I got, and one with her in a swimsuit. A school swimsuit, mind you. Yes. Alright. Now for the last thing. For item-wise, this was the most expensive thing I bought. How much? $40. For a 20 by 20 sketch. Print, excuse me. They sealed it for me, which is quite nice. So I'm going to basically open up here. There we go. Yeah, that was the way to seal it for this thing. This is a print. I thought this was very beautiful. It is of Johto Kujo from JoJo's Bizarre Adventures Stardust Crusaders. And this cost me $40, this thing. And everybody thinking, wow, you spent $40 on a poster? Well, it's a print. Yeah. I like JoJo. I actually don't have much of anything related to JoJo at all. Not really, no. But, and that's all I bought. This actually was, believe it or not, the last thing I bought at the con. Well, actually at this expo before I left. I did go to one panel. Yes, I went to one panel. It was the very panel that Kira and Kyle recommended. Basically about the life of voice actors. Kira revealed of how she got her part as Whis from Ruby. Apparently the late creator of the series, Monty, I don't remember his last name, she actually was working as a receptionist at Rooster Teeth. As in Rooster Teeth, the creators of Ruby. And they work on some other series. I think it was Red vs. Blue. Not necessarily, no. Probably some other series. And he wanted to work on some different series, so he recommended her for the part. The thing is, she was not a trained voice actor. So she was just a receptionist. So she got the part anyways. Purely because of the fact she knew Monty. Kyle was actually working as ADR engineer at Funimation. He mentioned this there. And the first series he ever worked on was series I actually reviewed for a few years ago. Triple X Holic. Yes. He was actually the voice of the Ghost from the final dub episode release. And I did ask him a couple of really good questions. One was it where we have someone who tries out for a couple of different voice roles and they might get one of them. And also, if in fact someone who tries out multiple roles doesn't get any of them, but the producer, the person doesn't like them, and comes back for a role they would recommend. And according to Kyle, that happens all the time. Yes, because I've only heard about this for live action stuff. I never heard much for anime, and this is 100% completely true. I did also mention to him about something that Colin Clicker mentioned in an interview about the stuff with where when she got power for Luffy, she had to get permission. Funimation get permission from Toei to get approval for this role. I asked Kyle, was to say anything from Kaminari? He says no. But that's only true for Toei because they're very strict because he did explain that licensed, the student Lu license there are not that strict. Only Toei is strict about that. He did advertise a class. There was also a question about people who have heavy accents. I did mention that, get this, apparently there's a studio who associated with Funimation does the Spanish dub of My Hero Academia in Miami Studios Conan's The Kitchen, and that's where they do all the recording for the My Hero Academia Spanish dub. Which, okay, that's interesting. Um, they also do bring up Kira brought up on her first and only date with this one guy, where she accidentally knocked over a glass of wine because she like talking with her hands and knocked over, broke the glass and splattered over it. And the waitress says, "Wow, that was one date that was worth it." Yep. This particular thing was so interesting to listen to. I really enjoyed this panel about the life of the voice actor stuff. And they do mention that apparently video game voice actors get paid a lot better than the anime voice actors. Though, the thing is, apparently Clifford Champton, the guy who voices Bakuto, when he did the voiceover for Bakuto for My Hero Academia 1 Justice 2, apparently they had to do the scream part like 6, 7. They had to do a whole bunch of scream louder, 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 louder. This is something that Kyle basically said in the thing. And he basically was like, according to him, Clifford's voice was nearly shot after doing that game. Because all the screaming he had to do, because all the screaming Bakuto had to do in the whole game. Yep. Oh, by the way, the first line he said, "Blah." He was that ghost. Yes. And he gets into a line for, in the case of how Kira gets to a role as Whis, well, puts on a pair of high heels because Whis wears high heels. In the case of Kyle, he raises eyebrows. And then Toad gets to the part of basically playing Kaminari. Yep. By far, in the case of all the stuff I went through, of what was there, that panel about the life of a voice actor, I found to be, aside from meeting these voice actors, the most interesting aspect of this expo. I loved it. Sugoi Expo, if you do another one of those next year, I would definitely love to attend it. Would I recommend basically Kyle and Kerrigan? I have nothing against them, but I would like to hear from other voice actors how they got into the business. Yes, that in my opinion was the best. Now, here's the strange thing. That was the first panel I had attended in a long time. I think the last panel I attended was, I was thinking like it was the Power Rangers one I attended back in 2014. No, it was actually the last panel I attended. There's actually a couple panels I attended. There was the one that had the original live action actor for Colossus. The other was the live action actor for Negasonic Teenage Warhead. That was actually the last panel I went to. This was at, I believe it was Tempe Comic Con. I believe it was back in it may have been 2019, I think it was. Year 2020, 2019, one of those 2 years. That was the last and the first time I had ever attended a panel. And this one, loved it. Really good. I give the ranking of the panel a 10 out of 10 because it was awesome. Do I want to go back to the next one if they were having one? Yes. My improvements. My recommendations for it. Number one, can you actually have more than just 2 freaking rooms next year? I mean, you say you had 2 rooms. Not really. They basically had 2 combined rooms. They basically probably also, how about more rooms next year? Also, here's another thing. How about basically some vendors that actually have some anime, manga, and light novels? And have more variety for t-shirts, because there was like one booth of t-shirts and none look interesting for me to buy. I mean, it's also some sweaters, but I wasn't interested in buying sweaters. I had no interest in buying sweaters at all. Why would I buy something I wouldn't wear? I bought this because I would wear it. But they also had some t-shirts that felt very offensive. And this one booth they had, I'm like, I saw these shirts, I'm like, yeah, there's no way I'm buying shirts and make people so offended to look at me. Not just because of my weight, because the shirts probably be so offensive. There's also shirts I saw there, a couple about Vegeta. They're pulled directly from the manga. And there's one basically is like, oh, Batman, over 9,000. I thought it was quite hilarious, but I was not going to wear it. Not necessarily, no. I did like the booths that sell figures. They had this one booth that had a whole bunch of Funko Pops. Yeah, a whole bunch of like a whole like big area of Funko Pops. Yeah, they actually had, I thought that was a really cool sight to see. I had to look around, but I didn't buy anything. Funkos are not something I would buy. I have a few of them per se, but it's not something I would regularly buy when it comes to figures because I'm not interested in buying figures. I like regular figures. Like, do I think it's big as basically like my Boa Hancock one? Not necessarily, no. Basically, stuff that's around. Ooh, man. Sorry about this. Uh, Stuff that's around this size or slightly bigger. Not the Funkos. Yes. But you might think, okay, did I come across anything related to Kamen Rider there? I was kind of thinking of that because that's related to Japanese stuff, but nope. A bunch of anime stuff. There was like 4 figures. I saw this one booth that I bought that Rem figure from of Rem wearing a wedding dress, which apparently was the most expensive Rem figure they had there. And a lot of the anime stuff they had there, I was not familiar with the stuff at all. And there was another booth that did sell anime. This one actually sold some Dragon Ball Z ones. Now you might be curious though, do I own any of these figures from Dragon Ball? No. The only series currently I do own figures from, and this is currently ReZero, One Piece, My Hero Academia, Fairy Tail. I'm trying to think what else. And I think that's it. There's only 4 I can think of. I do own them for, but I don't own it from any other series per se. I kind of wish I would, but I just don't, to say the least. Yes. But not much else to say about this particular Sugoi Expo. And after I finished up the voice actor panel, which I really enjoyed that, I was ready to go. Despite the fact this event had 2 hours left, I didn't feel like staying to 8 o'clock. I basically just finished up at 6, and we just left, went to Red Lobster, and came home. Took us a while to get back home. Because this was in Orlando, mind you. Not at the convention center, this particular thing. This is at the Doubletree Hotel at Doubletree at the Hilton near Universal Studios. That's basically where this was. And I'm hoping for next year, please expand it. Just do it. And have more vendors that basically have more than like. It felt as though when I was in there, it felt like half the vendors who was in there were selling prints, stickers, or keychains. I get the whole anime stuff. That's perfectly fine. I didn't have a problem with some of the figures. That was perfectly fine too. But if you're going to advertise anime, how about, I don't know, how about have a booth that sells anime DVDs or Blu-rays, manga, and light novels? Have booths sell those. Because basically that'll earn you a little extra buck for your money, Nerd Street. Yes, that was one thing I was disappointed about this figure. That was one thing. Another thing, really? This was it? This one room was your exhibition hall? Yeah, I felt so disappointed with that. You might be thinking, did I feel disappointed at Central for Comic Con for this one? Same people. Not necessarily. I felt this year's actually was a little more better. Because they had 2 freaking rooms for the exhibition hall. This had freaking 1 plus another hall that had the celebrity voice actors and a couple of extra booths. Yeah. I was fine with seeing a comic creator there. That was fine. I was not all that feeling with Steve Horton. But if you're going to have this, please, for love of God, get in a room, please. That's all I recommend. Hopefully they expand it next year. And the thing is, I get the fact this is the first day. And you're probably thinking, will I go back next days? No. Oh, by the way, they did have something I did not get a chance to experience while I was there. A maid cafe. Yes, a maid cafe. I didn't know when the heck this was. I went down there. By the time I went down there, they were already closed up. Because they were only on for a certain time. One thing that was really weird, apparently one of the maids was a guy in a maid outfit. I'm like, really? Yeah, I thought this was kind of weird. It would have been nice to experience this, but no, not really. They were closed. Whatever. Yeah. Did I feel wasted time there? Not necessarily. I got okay amount of stuff, but this is probably by far of the 4 events I went to this year. This is probably the smallest haul I've ever basically had all year. Like, this is smaller than the Central 4 Comic Con one I went to this year. Yeah, this is smaller than that. And that usually of the three of their events I go, they usually has the smallest haul. But this is smaller than that. Like a few prints, a couple of figures, socks. Yeah. So room for improvement. Hopefully next year they have a little bit more. I hope so. And also, if you're gonna have a startup time at 2 o'clock, don't have it where the voice actors are just setting up at that particular point. Like, have the voice actors get there ahead of time and have them set up. Because when I got there, their tables were freaking empty. Seriously, there was nothing there. Like, and by the way, for people who are volunteers this thing, they were clearly not doing their freaking jobs. Okay, Nerd Addict, if you watch this video, my recommendation, make sure your volunteers do their jobs. Because I actually walked into the rooms before stuff was even open. And by the way, they had doors that were open before your exhibition hall opened, which made no freaking sense. I had no problem with registration. I actually liked the whole, because of the hotel, we had sort of a little check-in area. Like, I basically went through this in like less than a couple minutes. Like, wow, that was really quick. And by the way, I found the place really easily. Like, saw the Sugoi Expo sign. There it was, right there. Perfect. Uh, just some minor aspects, okay. But the biggest thing you can improve on, aside from more vendors per se, have your volunteers do the freaking jobs that you basically ask them to do. Like, is your volunteers one of the jobs do is to prevent people from going inside these halls before the stuff is even opened? Like, please do that next time, Nerdak. Nerd Street. I'm thinking Nerdak is a comic that was close here a couple years ago. Okay, so that's a particular view. Next is going to be Comic Corner, and I was thinking we're working a great job with the feed. I think I'll work on it tomorrow. Okay, next video. Bye.